Hello. The story of Toyota's, I call it, ugly warranty claim reputation has reared its head again, and it's not resolved yet. Well, I'll see. Those of you might remember 2018, my green troop carrier, it had 9,000 or so kilometers on it, including the canning stock route that I did in 2017, and on inspection of the brake rotors, the rear ones, and the brake pads on the rear, they were basically already destroyed and needed replacing after only 9,000 kilometers. And I took this to my dealership, and they said it's red dirt. Exactly like the red dirt shown on Toyota Australia's Home 70 Series webpage. And I complained, and I said to them, look, I've had Land Cruisers before with 250,000 kilometers of gravel driving, and brakes are still fine even after that length of time. Well, a similar thing has reared its head again. I was on the beach the other day, got very frustrated. I could not get the Troopy into low range.
Do you want to just give us a brief of what's happening?
Yeah, we spent the last 10 minutes trying to get the car into low range. It will not go into low range. I can go into 4, high, 4, 2, high 2, high low, high 4. But what you do is you put it in high 4, you lift it up and it goes. Now the lever pulls back, basically goes 1, which is forward is 2-wheel drive, back is 4-wheel drive. And then you grab the stick and you lift it over there's a little cam in the gearbox, and you lift it over and it goes into low, actually via neutral into low. And on the canning a few times, I struggled to get it into low range. It now will not go. So I've got to do this in low third is the right gear for this. Can't get it into low, so I have to go in second, which means I'm going to have to take a bit of a run up. And I was trying with the gearing and putting it back into 2-wheel drive and making sure there was no axle or transmission wind up, and no, it would not go into low range. No, that's not going to work. That gear ratio is too high for this. I'm going to have to go off in first, high. So I actually had to let my tyres right down.
So what you taking it down to?
12 psi. So I could crawl off the beach because I couldn't use the low third that I wanted. Anyway, took it to the dealership, and honestly, I was worried. I was worried that they were going to be patronising about this warranty thing, because I've had bad before, expected bad again. And of course they're very friendly when they take the vehicle, and of course they remind me that if there is if we find that it is not a warranty claim, there is $185 or so charge for diagnostics. That's okay. It's not unreasonable to expect that. But I'm thinking, what are they going to come up with now? Well,
just calling in regards to your 70 series. We finished the work on it. Just let you know there will be a $180 charge for it. Thank you. Bye.
Right. Now, I know that there was no stick in the way, because I had opened the top of the gearbox, removed the console, opened the top. There's an inspection panel. It's a bit fiddly to get it off. Got it off, looked inside. Nothing there. No mud, nothing. Nothing to cause a problem. Okay, well, I put it back, climbed underneath, and looked around with a torch. There's a lever. It's about this long from the actuator. Nothing in the way. Everything's fine. Has to be internal. Has to be internal. Because there's nothing on the outside. So, why? Corrosion. Corrosion. Yes, there's a lot of corrosion. You need to, and he gave me a little bit of a lecture on, if I'm going through very, very deep water, I need to clean up the vehicle. I haven't been through any deep water at all. I explained to him that beach driving is not something I do very often, and when I do, I always keep my vehicle well away from the surf. heavy rains and the Canning stock route water crossing, the depth was not much beyond my ankles. It's no deeper than I remember it in 2017, and like then, the riverbed is firm enough to carry our vehicles. And I drove across slowly, so it wouldn't splash, because I know these things. No, corrosion. Okay, I was very reasonable, and I said, okay, you need to send me some pictures. Did anybody take some pictures? Well, actually, yes, they did. They took some pictures, and here are the pictures. I assure you that's not rust. There's a little bit of corrosion underneath the DPF. That's not rust, it's Australian red dirt. And the Northern Territory in Western Australia is about 95% red dirt. South Australia is also red. There's a lot of red dirt in Australia. A lot of it. That's the component that they say was corroded, and therefore it was my problem that it failed. That inside there failed. Now the good news is, they suddenly, during the phone call, changed his mind and said, no, we won't be charging you. I sent the following reply. Thanks for the pics. I thought, that's red dust, and it tends to stick on anything with a roughish surface. It's not corrosion, or even the start of corrosion. There is no corrosion in that area at all. Let's not confuse these two things, and please don't guess. This obviously is a warranty claim. And then I added this. But let's say it was corrosion. Okay? The car is a little over a year old. Australian customer law states that any product should be able to perform with a reasonable amount of wear and tear. A motor car, underneath, if it starts to corrode badly after a year and a half, that means that's not reasonable. It's especially not reasonable if the components they say are corroded are made from aluminium. That Mr. White, it was corrosion to me was, we have been trained to do everything in our power to not accept a warranty claim if we possibly can find a reason. Instead of being honest. That's what I'm reading. There was a recent case, they actually had to give the guy another ute because the corrosion was so bad, and that one was also about a year old. So I have asked this question. I'm interested to know how you have been trained to decide the fate of the customer in these cases. And I have added, please be careful with your reply because it may be used in a media story. I didn't get a reply, but here is the question and the reason for this video. Toyota, I want you to answer the question. I'm going to do a follow-up on this video, okay? I'd like you to correspond with me, please. Right? You can find contact details on my website, forexoverland.com. My question is, how are your service people trained specifically with regard to warranty claims made by your customers? And how is their fate decided? I want to find out, and I want to share it with people, because now I've had these two Land Cruisers. They are very reliable vehicles. Your salespeople are fantastic. I cannot praise them high enough. But your service people are terrible. I fundamentally do not trust them, because now twice I've had an issue. And twice you've tried to get away from what was, in both cases, so obviously a fault with the car during its warranty period.